Before the suffix able was borrowed into English, English used to convey the same idea by taking a verb and putting it into its past participle form or its present participle form and then putting the equivalent of "ly" at the end. If we were to do that today, then a word like sinkable would be either sunkenly or sinkingly. The problem with sinkingly, though, is because ingly already has a meaning in modern English. So what I've been thinking is we could do it the way they used to do it and use the present participle ending they used to use in this construction, because at the time when they still did this, they had a distinction between the present participle suffix and the gerund suffix, and then the gerund suffix took over. So they used to say things kind of like this: the fallen snow, and then they would reserve falling to be a noun like this. So instead of confusing things by using the present participle ending we use today, if we were to preserve the old one here and do it the way they used to do it, then we could come up with a word like sinkenly. Now the D is dropped because it was brought to my attention that the most late attestations of this construction often had the D missing. So if they were dropping the D all the way back around the year 1200, then I think it's very unlikely that it would have survived to today. So I think it would be more natural looking to drop the D. Now there's also the past participle way of doing it, but that seems to have been way less common. So this is the one I prefer. Now, it was also brought to my attention that this construction could also convey a active kind of meaning, like something more like capable rather than able. So, for example, sinkenly could mean something like sinkable, but it could also mean sink capable. So you could say the Titanic was sinkenly because it was able to be sunk or sunken, but a torpedo could also be said to be sinkenly because it is capable of sinking other things. So what we could do is we could use this here. This is something English has been doing for a long time, is people notice that the other Germanic languages use their equivalent of this ending here in order to convey the passive meaning of able, like able to be sunken. So something we could do is we could reserve this for the passive sense, like able to be sunken, and then reserve this or prefer this for the active sense of being capable of doing something. It needs to be noted, though, that English never used this the way the other Germanic languages use it. So this is a calque of sorts. And so if you don't want to calque the other Germanic languages, if you don't want to just do whatever they're doing, then the more authentic, the more English thing to do would be to use this for both senses. But if you're willing, then you can make a distinction between active here and passive here. It should be noted that this ending, this end ending, this old present participle ending has survived, not as a productive suffix, but it has survived, for example, in the words friend and fiend, which if you tear them apart, their etymology, they basically mean things like loving one and hating one. So your friend is kind of like your loving. This might seem kind of weird, but we still do this in modern English today. Like you might say something like, the sleeping will be left behind. You're using the present participle form as a noun in that case. And it's worth throwing this in here, that the word might used to be wider in English. Might used to mean something more like ability rather than like strength. So, I mean, you can still kind of use it that way. Like you can say like mental might, but when people hear that, they're probably hearing it as a kind of poetic usage, but it used to not be a poetic usage. It used to be a very literal thing, because might used to just mean something akin to may, like how much may you do something, how capable are you, how much ability do you have. So yeah, might used to basically mean ability or capability. So let's look at some examples. Here is perishable. So this would be kind of like capable of perishing, capable of a desire. This is probably more like capable of terrifying things. Perishable again. Unable to be described. Unable to be overwon. To be breached. Incapable of being dealt up. Incapable of being described. Something to notice here is, unlike a lot of these, which have the kind of like leech at the end, these ones from Orm show it without the ch sound. So this is more similar to our modern pronunciation. So this would be something like endly. So yeah, this is really close to the way I want us to use the suffix or double suffix, whatever you want to call it.